America's Wild West. Here, predator and prey clash head-to-head in epic battles of survival. But what happens when America's most ruthless killers, and even its unlikely aggressors, turn on each other? Animals fight tooth and claw against their own kin to win food, territory, and rights to the bloodline. In the wild, there are no rules. This is Animal Fight Club. At over 900 kilograms of solid muscle, the American bison is born to fight. Their violent blows send shockwaves miles through the earth. Welcome to the Thunderdome. It's late September, the end of a violent 3-month rutting season. Bison on this battleground are rife with deep wounds and broken ribs. This impressive 13-year-old bull is the envy of the herd. He's caught the attention of an eager female, wooing her with elaborate costumes and a suggestive strut. But to make sure it's his genes that are passed on, this Casanova defends his female from other eager males. And standing guard 24/7 doesn't leave much time for grazing. The old bull has lost 90 kilograms of his body weight. He is weak and vulnerable. And the rest of the herd is taking notice. An 11-year-old is first to step up to the plate. He moves alongside the old bull in what's called a broadside threat. The scuffle is brief. The 11-year-old realizes he's no match for the old bull, so he backs down. But a younger male is getting amped up for a fight. The rebellious teen wallows in a pit of dirt and his own urine. And the old bull follows suit. The bigger the dust cloud, the more intimidating the rival. The juvenile charges. 2 tons collide at 60 kilometers an hour. 30-centimeter long vertebrae anchor massive neck muscles to create a driving force. And matted fur forms a 7-centimeter thick helmet to cushion the hit. The juvenile drives his rival across the plains like a rag doll. It looks like the old boy backs off, but it's a bluff. He's saved his strength until this moment. The tables have turned. Then the old man pummels him from the left. He uses 900 kilograms of brute strength to ram the young bull's ribcage. 60-centimeter horns, stabbing him like bayonets. The juvenile's lungs are 13 times the size of a human's and vulnerable to puncture. It's the final assault. The old bull has won. And the juvenile has injured his leg in the final hit. He's now easy pickings for predators. A tough lesson has been learned. Respect your elders. From the massive to the miniature, just underfoot, 200,000 pint-sized prairie dogs call this grassland home, and they have taken urban sprawl to the extreme. Several colonies make up a complex tunnel system that spans the area of Manhattan. It may look crowded, but there are advantages to city living. More lookouts, more alarm bells, and more playmates. But as with any close-knit family, there are heated disputes. One male, 4 breeding females, and their offspring make up this prairie dog pack. And 6 new additions have just arrived. This 2-year-old female has just given birth to her first litter. She's an overprotective mother, and she has good reason to be. 50% of newborn pups are killed in the first few weeks of life, and a family member is often the killer. Lactating females kill and eat their sister's infants. This ensures her own pups will have a greater chance of survival. Our young mom stands guard at the burrow entrance. Her cannibal sister is on the prowl for rival offspring. Our young mom spots her. The murderess flies into the burrow, guns blazing. But our dogged mom keeps herself between her pups and her killer sister. Finally, her sister retreats and heads above ground. But our mom follows her. Topside, the fighting escalates. Our 2-year-old is well armed, with incisors that never stop growing, and sharp claws primed for digging. Fights like these can end in open wounds and tails bitten in half. At the heart of every good mom is a fighter. Like a 1-kilogram bodyguard, she blocks the burrow. The sister makes a sneaky approach. She's blocked again. Prairie dogs are the kung fu fighters of the animal world. Finally, the young mom drives her sister away and takes up her guard post at the tunnel entrance. 3 weeks later, the pups have grown to 3 times their size, no longer vulnerable to cannibalistic attacks, and they have their mom to thank for it. Above ground, a much larger and more powerful contender enters the ring. Wild Mustangs, icons of the American West. They were the all-terrain vehicles of frontier cowboys. But generations later, these high-tempered beasts are anything but tame. There is a strict pecking order in wild horse society. And climbing this social ladder can be a dangerous game. Nevada's Great Basin Desert. It's a rugged wasteland where only the strong survive. This herd of 8 mares and their offspring finds strength in numbers. A 7-year-old male holds his post as the protector of the group, on constant patrol for rogue stallions looking to mate with his mares. He's equipped with an extraordinary field of vision. He can see almost panoramically, with only a small blind spot between his eyes and at his rear. The lining inside his nose is 100 times larger and far more sensitive than our own, while their outturned nostrils give them stereo olfaction, telling them which direction a rogue stallion may be coming from. He detects a lone male approaching from his left. The chestnut-colored intruder is old and battle-worn. He's a social animal, and he wants to join this herd. But the lead stallion won't make it easy for him. The wind shifts, and the herd leader catches the old stallion's scent. He won't tolerate an intruder. Balancing on two legs, they start throwing punches. At 450 kilos, the young stallion has the weight advantage. But desperation fuels the old man. The young stallion's 12 front incisors meet evenly at the front, perfectly designed for ripping flesh. And a lifetime of chewing grass has given him jaw muscles powerful enough to crush muscle and break bone. Neither horse can get a good bite. So the black and white stallion kicks it up a notch. He fires backward with a force of 1,000 kilograms. That's like twice the force of a sledgehammer to the face. But he can't connect. Exhausted, the young stallion concedes. It's a decision that saves the old stallion's life. He gains the acceptance of the herd, but knows his place as second in command. Where most animals of the American West try to avoid fights, bighorn sheep seem to enjoy them. Late November in the Rocky Mountains, and it's mating season. Females will only welcome advances for the next 15 days. It's now or never for these eager cowboys. There's no time for romance. With so many rivals, fights are almost always imminent. A lone ranger arrives from the east. He's a 7-year-old at the height of puberty, and it's the first year he's playing the mating game. But it won't be easy. To pass on his genes, he'll have to become the dominant ram. And he'll have to fight his way to the top. He challenges this bachelor band one by one. In these barroom brawls, size, strength, and stamina determine the winner. The Lone Ranger zeroes in on an opponent. He's 5 years older and over 5 kilos heavier. He tests his rival's manhood with this not-so-gentle prodding. The Lone Ranger challenges him to a shootout. It's an invitation the older ram just can't refuse. At first, it looks as though they call a truce. But then, like gunfighters of the Wild West, they turn and fire. Heads collide at 30 kilometers an hour, an impact that could kill a human instantly. These rams are armed with a powerful weapon. Weighing in at 13 kilos, their horns are heavier than all the bones in their body combined. And 20 millimeters of flexible keratin prevents them from snapping during combat. These collisions should knock out both opponents, but their skulls are engineered to take the hit. Their forehead is up to 3 times thicker than a human's. And inside the skull, a network of sinus chambers extends into the horns. creating a crumple zone upon impact, and cradling the brain like a walnut in its shell. But if the hit is hard enough, the contenders could die from severe head trauma. The Lone Ranger moves uphill to gain the advantage. A higher position maximizes battering power. They could go on like this for over a day. But the old bull just can't withstand the crushing blows. He'll have to let this one go. Bighorn rams may be the quick-draw cowboys of the Wild West. But our next contender is capable of waging full-scale war. They mobilize troops. They torture their victims. And they launch chemical attacks. Ants have shock and awe down to a science. But there's one ant species that uses its military mind against its own kind. This is a polyergus ant, but she's better known as the slave-making ant. Her mandibles are so sharp that she can't even feed herself. These sickle-shaped mouthparts are designed for a single purpose: murder. It all starts innocent enough. A female with a taste for power has no chance of rising within her own colony. The queen won't tolerate rivals. So the slave-making female leaves with her unhatched eggs to start a family of her own. But instead of building an empire, she steals one. Her target, a colony of 600 Formica worker ants. She may be outnumbered, but the slave-making princess has a trick up her sleeve. A specialized gland called a Duffer gland releases a pheromone that pacifies the Formica workers. The intoxicated defenders lay down their weapons and allow the slave maker to pass. Now her mission is to assassinate the Formica queen and steal her identity. The colony queen is caught off guard. She doesn't stand a chance against the intruder's serrated daggers. After 20 minutes of torture, the dethroned queen waits for the sweet release of death. Now this nightmare takes an even more disturbing turn. The slave-making princess licks the wounds of the fallen queen, taking on her scent. The Formica workers surround the intruder. They move their antennae over the new queen's body, feeling for hydrocarbons along her abdomen, identity markers that help distinguish friend from foe. By covering herself in the spilled fluids of her victim, the intruder has convinced the colony that she is and always has been their queen. 600 Formica ants are now her loyal slaves. They'll feed her, clean her, and raise her polyergus brood. But as the workers die out, the slave-making queen must replenish her army. So she sends her entranced minions on a raid. Nearly 2,000 ants on a military operation to pillage and enslave. The slave-making raiders stream into the Formica nest. But it's not the soldiers that the army is after. Their target is the nursery. The kidnappers steal up to 600 unborn Formica young, carrying each larva 40 meters back to their polyergus nest It's like a human walking 24 kilometers while carrying a piano. In 3 weeks, these Formica young will be born into slavery, ready for a life of grooming, feeding, and protecting their cruel slave-making queen. A cold sunrise across America's Great Plains marks the peak of the breeding season for sharp-tailed grouse. This field sets the stage for males to strut their stuff. There are 40 females here to impress, and only 1 or 2 males will get to mate with them all. First, they'll have to prove their worth on the dance floor. They are the lightweight lords of the dance, stamping their feet a whopping 20 times a second as they spin in circles and shake their tail feathers. They start and freeze like wind-up toys gone haywire, and their choreography must be flawless. Having 2 left feet is not an option. But if a male can't outdo his rival with his ballroom skills, he turns to his battle skills. In the midst of these mating dances, the males square up and fight. Their tactic is unique: to destroy the bright yellow flesh above each other's eyes. The bigger and brighter this patch, the more attractive they are to females. So if this flashy calling card is destroyed, females will lose interest. These fights rarely end in death, but their eyes risk serious injury. In a frenzy of feathers, the male on the left misses the bullseye. Finally, he hits his target. With his yellow eyebrow damaged, the sharp tail will have a hard time attracting a mate. Bruised and battered, he's fighting a losing battle. As quickly as it started, the fight is over, and the winner returns to the dance floor. This Rocky Mountain elk is king of his harem. He sprays himself with his own brand of cologne. It's called thrash urination, and it's a pungent signal of authority. The odor doesn't go unnoticed. A yearling bull responds by trashing vegetation. It's a call to battle. To pass on his genes, this yearling will have to fight and win. They mirror each other in a sideways strut. Both are armed with 12 jagged spears as strong as cast iron. At the core is a network of soft bone, designed to absorb the force of repeated collisions. And on the outside, collagen-packed bone makes the antlers nearly unbreakable. The dominant bull gains the uphill advantage. They both try to get around the other's deadly headgear. Antlers lock in a dangerous pushing match. They could go on like this for hours, leaving behind them a path of destruction. They're aiming for each other's legs and body, and for good reason. Calcium and phosphorus are stripped from the other bones in their body and used to strengthen their antlered weaponry, leaving their skeleton thinned, weak, and susceptible to fracture. The dominant male powers the young buck down the hill. His body twisted, the yearling narrowly escapes a snapped neck. The dominant male drives off his competitor in a final push. Another large buck nearby has been injured in battle. He has fended off several lesser males gunning for his harem. But he can't let his guard down. Another challenger approaches. Battle lines are drawn. The large male is limping and in pain. But the fight must go on. With a combined weight of 320 kilos, the heavyweights clash like linebackers at the Super Bowl. Their antlers tower more than a meter above their heads, armed with 16 individual daggers. The challenger takes a hard stab. But the old bull digs deep. It's enough to scare off the young buck. But another bachelor guns for his females. All the old bull can do is issue a war cry. It works. For now, the old bull hangs on to his harem. From the Rocky Mountains to Arizona's Sonoran Desert, here, one creature uses a more powerful weapon than antlers to fight his own kin. No animal packs a heavier punch than the desert scorpion. Like medieval knights, they are covered in a full suit of body armor, with plier-like pincers and a venomous barb. This 4-year-old desert scorpion is 12 centimeters of hard body shell. He rarely strays farther than 1 meter from his burrow. And he doesn't have to. As an opportunistic hunter, this juvenile waits for food to stray into his territory. But no insects have wandered past in months, and he's on the brink of starvation. Hairs along his pincers are picking up vibrations through the air, and comb-like sense organs have detected unfamiliar pheromones. There's an intruder in his midst. A neighboring scorpion has stumbled into his territory. It's a mistake that could cost him his life. Driven by hunger, a juvenile scorpion fires in from the left, attacking his neighbor. They're evenly matched in size and strength. It's a game of kill or be killed. Like any armored knight, each one is equipped with a sword. A scorpion is able to concentrate metals in its diet into its stinger, making it literally metal-plated. And inside the barb is venom potent enough to paralyze prey or a rival. The juvenile turns the intruder onto his back. Our 4-year-old finds a soft spot and delivers a crushing blow. 2 glands in the barb pump a cocktail of neurotoxins into the neighbor's body, shutting down his nervous system. Once paralyzed, the killer's digestive enzymes begin to liquefy the victim's body, and the cannibal killer sucks out the nutrients like a scorpion smoothie. This fight night has only one victor, and all that remains of the loser is his toxic tail. Our next contenders may not have venom in their arsenal, but they're expert killers nonetheless. Wolves. 13 kilos heavier than a German shepherd, and equipped with fangs as long as a human thumb. They hunt cooperatively to take down prey much larger than themselves. But what happens when wolves turn their weapons on their own kind? One-on-one, or pack versus pack, wolf attacks are bloody and vicious. With the most powerful jaws of all canines, they puncture vital organs and break bones. Lamar Valley, Yellowstone's richest hunting ground for wolves. Several wolf packs surround Lamar, and like rival street gangs, they fight for the coveted territory. One wolf pack has held control of Lamar for the past 8 years. The Druids. In their heyday, the pack was 37 strong, but disease has left them with only 9. On the other side of the ridge, the Slough Creek pack has grown to 15, outnumbering the Druids. It's early morning, and the Sloughs are making their move. They've been gunning for Lamar for years, and now the scales have tipped in their favor. The Druids take off to meet the threat. And the two packs come head-to-head at the northern border of the valley. It's here on territory boundaries that most wolf-on-wolf killings occur. Neither pack dares to cross. The Sloughs launch a second attack. And the pack fans out to show their formidable size. The Druids are battling against the odds. At first, there's confusion. But the Slough Creek alpha male spots his target. His muscle-packed body launches for the Druid alpha male at 65 kilometers per hour. The Slough Creek alpha sinks his 5-centimeter canines into his rival's neck, trying to cut off his windpipe and suffocate his victim. 2 more Slough Creek wolves gang up on the Druid alpha. One of the Sloughs clamps down on the Druid's back with the force of 60 kilos. If his bite injures his rival's spinal cord, the Druid alpha could be paralyzed. This is turf warfare at its most vicious. But the alpha manages to break free. The Druid pack retreats, but the Sloughs are relentless. At the top of the ridge, the Sloughs continue to bite and tear. It's enough to push the Druids from the valley for good. There's only one animal that can give the wolf a run for its money. The largest and most dangerous carnivore in the continental US, the grizzly bear. Tourists capture 2 large male grizzlies competing for the same female. What unfolds is a battle between this fight club's most vicious contenders. Beneath their skin, blocks of muscle in the hump and shoulders give them the fighting strength of 5 grown men. The darker bear is the first to challenge. But it's a false charge. And it's not enough to scare the lighter bear. Only 4% of these threat displays escalate to full-on fights. This is one of the 4%. Dominant males kill subordinates who get in their way. Their muscles tighten and hearts race as highly oxygenated blood pumps to their powerful legs and arms. Towering 2.5 meters tall, they are in a vicious deadlock. But loose skin around their face prevents them from getting a good bite. If they get in the right position, one could crush the other's skull with one bite. The lighter bear goes for the jugular. He has exceptionally thick skin around his neck to protect his carotid artery, but the large male is equipped with 5-centimeter canines and a bite that could crush a bowling ball. The lighter male slams his rival to the ground. He survives the attack, but it's enough to shake the big male. In a victory lap, the lighter grizzly pushes the bigger male from the winner's circle. There's only enough room for one grizzly on this Muscle Beach. Further west, the Nevada desert, only a few kilometers from the bright lights of the Vegas Strip. And it's here in the shadows of Sin City where one animal gambles with his life, the desert tortoise. On this dusty battleground, the slowest fights of the animal world unfold. They bite, they fence, and when really provoked, they flip. Stuck like this, tortoises can overheat and die in the desert sun. This male is new to the neighborhood. He's built like a rock-hard tank, but he has a soft spot for this female. The problem is, she's not impressed with his romantic gestures, and he won't take no for an answer. A few feet away, a large resident male hears the commotion, and curiosity gets the better of him. Like a knight in dusty armor, the large male comes to the rescue. He has no patience for the interloper and his flagrant behavior. Outraged by such inexperienced rudeness, our local hero bobs his head as a challenge to the young upstart. The smaller male is swept up in the moment. But the resident male won't back down. Finally, the rapid head bobs catch the intruder's attention. He's not happy about being interrupted. The intruder goes straight to the most dangerous move in his repertoire. The big male struggles to right himself. In the heat of battle, the female makes a run for it, like only a tortoise can. Then, in a blink of an eye, the intruder takes off after the female. The large male is left shell-shocked, but he's not about to give up. He bolts after the scoundrel, and a high-speed chase ensues. Finally, the resident male drives the pest from the desert territory and returns to his burrow to find the female waiting for her Prince Charming. Unlike our ninja tortoises, the next fighter will lay down his life in the battle for love. In battle over a female, white-tailed deer can die of pure exhaustion. And if their antlers entwine and can't be wrestled free, it's a double death sentence. Two white-tailed bachelors lock in a heated battle. A female deer has come between them, and she watches on as they show off in front of her. They crouch on their front legs to lower their center of gravity. In a violent tumble, one buck gains the advantage. Neck twisted, the other male becomes a punching bag for the herd. His neck could snap at any moment. Antlers locked, the losing buck is completely immobilized. But the standing buck starts to panic and tries to break free. If they can't unlock, both contenders will starve to death. The tactic has switched from fight to flight. But the struggle isn't over for this buck. He's become his worst enemy. He struggles to dislodge his leg. Finally, he breaks free. He'll live to fight another day. They may look like a mixed bag of parts, with a body the size of a refrigerator, propped up by 4 stick-like legs. But don't be fooled. Moose are aggressive and surprisingly quick. And they injure more people than any other wild mammal in North America. This lumbering giant has traveled miles through driving snow in search of love. He's been eating 30 kilos of food a day to get this impressive physique, and his antlers have grown to the size of a coffee table. But he'll need more than all this to entice a lady. He'll have to take on 2 other hormone-fueled bulls. It's a rare 3-way moose brawl. With 2,000 kilos of muscle-packed moose pushing together, immense tension builds. If they slip, or a bull loses his balance, he could be injured or even killed. 2 against 1, the bulls drive the newcomer back like a freight train. The newcomer retaliates from the left and singles out his opponent. The smaller male tries to hold his ground, but resistance is futile. For the newcomer, it's 1 down, 1 to go, and this battle could continue for hours. But not every bull-moose rumble is a battle of attrition. Some bachelor disputes are settled in seconds. In a Montana backyard, a bull-moose smells an approaching rival. Only one of them will get to mate with the females in the area. The intruder is ready for a fight. The resident bull moves his head side to side in what's called a challenger gait. It's a serious threat display that means bring it on. They collide like 400-kilo battering rams. The resident male flees, narrowly escaping a painful goring to the backside.